Alrighty, what is happening, y'all? It's Super Lakitu here, and recently there has been some news that has dropped in terms of, well, one, Champions actually has a confirmed, or at least seemingly confirmed, release date for mobile devices, which will be June 17th. And with that news, we also got the reveals of the abilities for the Mega Raichus, Mega Raichu X and Y, respectively. Mega Raichu X is going to get Electric Surge, and Mega Raichu Y is going to get No Guard. And I just wanted to give my thoughts on what these two Megas are going to be capable of going into the next regulation, because that's likely when they will be dropping, which I originally thought that Regulation MB was going to drop in July, but it's actually going to be dropping this month, seemingly on the same day as the mobile release. So yeah, we're just going to get right into this. So ignore these abilities on Showdown. This is kind of like the placeholder abilities that they've had for a while, but we're just going to start with Mega Raichu X having Electric Surge. So there are three things that this implies. One is that we're going to get terrains next regulation. Two, this is the second non-legendary Pokemon to get Electric Surge as an ability. The other one being Pincurchin, which unfortunately isn't that great of a Pokemon to be as your main terrain setter, so this is great for the formats where, you know, Tapu Koko and Miraidon specifically aren't legal. And three, it's that Mega Raichu X is the first Mega to have a terrain as its ability, meaning that once you press that Mega button, the terrain just automatically applies. Think of it like how Mega Charizard Y is with Drought. If we're gonna be going into like a terrain-based meta next regulation, then we're gonna be seeing like Rillaboom. We're probably gonna be seeing maybe another Mega with a terrain ability as well. And I think that having the ability to just kind of say no to those switch-in terrains is gonna be really good. Oh yeah, Indeedee. Yeah, I think Indeedee's also gonna be dropping next regulation as well, if we're going to be like introducing terrains as a archetype. So being able to, like, say Tyranitar, like click a button, Mega Evolve to just kind of get rid of your opponent's terrain is going to be so huge in terms of like momentum shifting. And I think this will give Mega Raichu X a pretty solid niche moving into the new, would I say meta? I guess so, yeah. And we can also talk about the moves that the Raichus have as well. Of course, Mega Raichu Y benefits from base Raichu's moves list a lot more than Raichu X does, but Raichu X does have some decent stuff going for it. So, first of all, Fake Out, staple. Both these two having access to Fake Out is going to be really, really good, because that allows your partner Pokemon to set up, and it also kind of shuts down a lot of the other faster mons. That's another thing too. These mons are pretty fast. Like, Raichu X doesn't gain any speed when it Mega Evolves, but it's still 110 base speed, which is notable because that is above Mega Charizard Y, Mega Gardevoir, you know, all those base 100s, even Mega Floette at base 102. Like, this is a pretty good speed benchmark, all things considered, depending on what we get in the next regulation in terms of like new mons they introduce. But this is still good because Raichu X can then click that Volt Tackle right into Charizard Y, and it is not going to be a very happy camper when it gets hit by that. On top of the fact that this is electric terrain boosted, which I guess I should give a sort of breakdown on what electric terrain does. So the main benefits of electric terrain is that, one, your electric type moves get a 30% damage increase, if I remember correctly. I would have to double check that. Maybe I'll leave a little edit comment if that isn't the case, but I believe it is a 30% increase to your electric type moves. And it also has the added benefit of every Pokemon on the field that is grounded won't be susceptible to sleep. So no sleep powder, no sing, no hypnosis, like none of that. As long as you are grounded, then you won't be hit by any of those. And I guess the electric type damage boost also applies to Pokemon that are grounded as well. Which, now that I think about it, Because there's been some speculation based on, you know, Mega Raichu X's animations in Legends ZA that it would get like a electric terrain levitate hybrid because it kind of flies around like Superman. It's one of the greatest things ever, but it would also be very anti-synergistic considering the fact that it wouldn't be grounded, so it couldn't benefit from the terrain at all if that was the case. Unless, you know, they did their own shenanigans where it says like, oh, this Pokemon can still levitate but gain the benefits from electric terrain. Like, that would have been super cracked. But Electric Surge is still a great ability for Raichu X to have. It definitely gives it an identity. Like, even though the stats might not have been, you know, as you know, great looking upon it, like once the Mega Dimensions DLC dropped, it still gets like a good amount of like defenses once the Mega evolves, so it could definitely tank a hit. Of course, the HP is like the only big flaw. And yeah, not gaining any speed once the Mega evolves is kind of sad, but you're still at a pretty good speed tier. So I'd say this is like a decent sort of trade-off. But the main benefit of Raichu X is going to be the partners that it'll enable. So if we're having terrains, it also means we might get like the seeds. And what the terrain seeds do is that upon entering a terrain of some sort, like there's like electric seed, grassy seed, misty seed, I believe. Oh yeah, the psychic seed. I can't believe I forget about psychic terrain. But yeah, those seeds are going to be important for unburdened mons. Like, of course, gotta bring up Sneasler in the conversation. So the reason why Sneasler is so good with unburden is the fact that you just run like Focus Sash or White Herb on it, and those items can get they're basically like depletable items, so like you use them once and they're gone, and what Unburden does is it doubles your speed upon losing the item. This also applies to the seeds, so Sneasler can immediately go onto the field with a terrain seed, and then it could just proc Unburden, and it just becomes like the fastest Pokemon in the game basically. So that is pretty frightening, and is definitely a combo that you can go with Mega Raichu X, and it's something to look out for. But what I mainly want to look into is Pokemon that have the move Rising Voltage. And, well, right here it only says Raging Bolt. But if we go to, say, Champions right here, and then we type in Rising Voltage. Yeah, we don't have too many electric types right now. That will definitely change once the new regulation drops. At least I would hope so. I don't know how many new mons are going to be adding exactly, but I hope it's like a decent handful, along with, you know, the rest of the new megas. But yeah, what Rising Voltage does, and I'm just gonna bring up Heliolisk just for an example. So Rising Voltage doubles the power if the target is grounded in electric terrain, and it is 70 base power. So that is a 140 base power move on electric terrain. And that is going to be pretty frightening depending on what other electric type mons we get in the upcoming regulation. In terms of mons that we have right now that get access to it, unfortunately, like the strongest users of it are Megas, so you wouldn't be able to combo it with Raichu X. But I mean, I guess you could have like, say, Jolteon, like I did mention Heliolisk. Rotom could be pretty good as well, actually. Rotom Wash, or even the other Rotoms as well. Those could be pretty solid. Actually, nope, never mind. Well, actually, yeah, it won't get the boost from electric terrain because it does have Levitate, like I mentioned earlier. But Rising Voltage does double the power if the target is grounded, so it could still fire off some pretty devastating Rising Voltages, even if it doesn't get that terrain boost. But you will most likely want a grounded Pokemon to get access to this move and to fire off some powerful hits. Unfortunately, you can't combo this with Raichu, with the Alolan Raichu, because they are considered the same Pokemon in Dex number. And yeah, so that is unfortunate. It can't take advantage of that Surge Surfer. But this is honestly pretty interesting. And in terms of like other moves that Raichu X can have, unfortunately, its physical move pool is not the greatest. It gets Drain Punch, which is nice to get to heal up from the Volt Tackle recoil that it does. And you don't exactly get access to, let me check real quick. If you get access to like Source Dance, you like see there's Nasty Plot, which we're gonna talk about with Raichu Y, but yeah, you don't have Swords Dance, you don't get like, I mean, they haven't introduced Power Punch at all yet, so yeah. That is unfortunate in terms of like not being able to raise your physical attack stat, but it's still got some, you know, okay stuff going on. It gets Play Rough, Knock Off, you know. It's... We'll have to see how Mega Raichu X will pan out going forward, but I think most importantly, it's going to be that sort of team player Pokemon where you're kind of building your team around it rather than, you know, just kind of slotting it into any team whatsoever, unless you just really need a Pokemon to just kind of deny other terrain setters, which in that case, yeah, Mega Raichu X could have that niche as well, but, you know, I'm pretty excited for it, honestly. Again, it is very dependent on what other mods will be getting in the next regulation, but, you know, I am looking forward to making a team around Mega Raichu X, because I love Raichu, and I'm so happy that it got a Mega, let alone 2. Although, let's be honest, Raichu Y is basically just Mega Pikachu, so... And even if Raichu X has the Pikachu colors, it's still more Raichu coded, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna be having a blast trying to make this guy work. Now we gotta talk about Raichu Y. So this is the one that is we're gonna have to look out for this one, basically. So it gets no guard, and we already know with Mega Hawlucha how that goes, but of course Hawlucha has that niche where it can entrainment no guard on some other stuff. Raichu Y having no guard, just standalone, is kind of insane when you consider the fact that, look at this stats, 160 base special attack, 130 base speed. It's outspeeding most of the relevant mons in the game. It's outspeeding Charizard, of course, outspeeding Sneasler. Granted, it doesn't get that Unburden boost. Like, it is pretty notable. And it's also the same speed tier as Aerodactyl, if I'm not mistaken, yep. So, yeah, this is pretty nasty in terms of its offensive capabilities, but when you factor in no guard, we have to look into what moves it could get access to that can take advantage of that. And the big one that everyone is talking about right now is Zap Cannon. So Zap Cannon, 120 base power, 50% accuracy, 100% chance to paralyze the target. And Raichu Y just ignores that 50% accuracy. It's 100% accurate, so it'll guarantee hit off a 120 base power Zap Cannon with 160 base special attack with this speed. Like, this thing is gonna be an absolute menace, dude. And it gets access to Focus Blast as well, you know, Focus Miss. Yeah, we're not missing any of these either. 120 base power as well. Fighting coverage is great against the Steel types and whatnot, the Dark types. Like, again, with the other stuff, it also gets Dazzling Gleam if you want that spread damage as well. Like, it's got a very, very... I mean, it's got all the tools it needs, basically, for a special move pool, is all I'm gonna say. It gets access to Surf, it gets access to Grass Knot as well for that coverage against ground types. Alluring Voice is a nice fairy type move, like single target as well. And then we also have the fact that it can... Let me see right here on the status. Yeah, it could also get Nasty Plots, so if you thought this thing was already ridiculously strong, it could get even stronger with the proper setup. So, yeah, this thing is scary. It's a lot more straightforward compared to Raichu X, considering, you know, Raichu X, you kind of have to build a team around it, or rather, you have the capacity to build a team around it and, you know, take advantage of that electric terrain, whereas Raichu Y is just a straight-up nuke, basically. This is the Mega that you just kind of slot into your team if you just want a very strong attacker, special attacker specifically. And, of course, because it is faster than Charizard Y, it is also going to be a pretty great matchup into it. You know, it gets access to that Fake Out as well for, you know, that extra support. Like, this thing's going to be insane. I'm curious, do you get access to, I don't think you get access to any psychic moves. Let me see. No, you do not. That is the Alolan Raichu special, so, yeah. Can't exactly hit Caesar with anything, I mean, besides Zap Cannon, of course. So, yeah. The fact that Zap Cannon is 100% accurate now is crazy, because not only is that an absurdly strong move coming off this base special attack, 100% chance to paralyze is just so debilitating, especially on the speedier mons as well. Yes, paralysis doesn't exactly proc as often as it used to, but just having that 50% speed reduction is gonna hurt, man. It's really gonna hurt. So yeah, pretty crazy mon, but I don't really have much else to say about it. Like, I mean, we can look at some of the other moves it gets, like, you know, sort of accuracy, yeah, zap cannon. I mean, you don't really need thunder. Zap cannon is pretty much just a go-to. I guess you could be funny and go charge beam. I don't know why you would. You just nasty plot. Thankfully, it can't take advantage of rising voltage unless, I don't know, we get a Pinkerchin next regulation as well, and you wanted to pair it up with that, I guess. But yeah, if Raichu Y got Electric Surge, it would have been GG's. It would have been absolutely wraps. I don't even want to think of a world where we got Electric Surge Raichu Y. So I'm very glad that X got it. I will say, like, I would have appreciated it if it got a unique ability, but Electric Surge is already really solid. And just, again, being the only Pokemon, or being the second non-legendary Pokemon to get access to Electric Surge is already gonna have some, like, incredible value. So yeah, I think that'll pretty much cover this video. I don't want to make it too long. I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on the abilities for the Raichus and what they could mean for the upcoming regulation. But both of these guys are honestly looking pretty strong, man. These are definitely mods you want to take a look out for. Now, we do have the rest of the mega abilities that we don't know yet, so we're going to have to wait and see how those pan out, and also what other mods are going to be added. I know I keep saying that, but it is just so important understanding what we're going to get, because that can just completely change how we view, you know, the meta and whatnot, and what's going to be commonplace. Because I can't exactly think of these two mods in the meta right now, because when these two drop, the whole game's going to be changed pretty much. So yeah, I think that'll cover it. I hope you guys, you know, enjoyed my little breakdown of these abilities and what they could mean, and how strong I feel like the Raichus will be going into Champions. I feel like they're both going to see a place. I think they're both going to get some play, and I just can't wait to, you know, make some teams around them, you know, see how well they do. I'm glad Raichu's finally getting the respect it deserves, seemingly. But yeah, enough of that. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Again, thank you for all the love you guys have been showing on the channel recently. It's been absolutely wild just, you know, seeing all the positive comments and just seeing how much you guys enjoy the Champions content I've been putting out, and it really does mean a lot to me, man. So I seriously can't thank you guys enough. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you all next time. Take care, y'all.